Hello there, welcome to Talking Balearics with me, Martin Makepeace, here in a very hot and steamy Ibiza.
And me, Richie Pryor, in a hot and steamy Mallorca, but not as hot as England, Mark. Have you seen the headlines this morning? Hotter than the Balearics.
It is, Rich, but can you get in your car and drive to Café Del Mar in England, though, Rich? That's what I want to know. Can you drive to Calvià, or can you drive to wherever? You know, that's the whole nonsense of it, isn't it? You know,
exactly. Where would I rather be? You know, on the tube in London, 34 degrees, or sat here in my garden in the middle of Santa Ponsa. Yeah, I'm quite happy, thank you.
I would just say that, I mean, England or the UK in general doesn't do heat very well, does it? Let's face it. Just like we don't do rain very well. Or Spain or Ibiza definitely doesn't do rain very well. I don't know what it's like over there, but when it rains over here, it's chaos.
No, weirdly enough, I said to my mate, I rang him this morning, he said, as the heat, he said, oh, it's badly. I said, have you turned off your underfloor heating? He went, oh, that's a thought. I haven't actually.
Who put the burners on though, Rich? Because it's absolutely sweltering, isn't it, at the moment? I don't get it. I mean, literally, the change. I was away, obviously, for a couple of days. I left in spring and came back in peak summer. So, I mean, wow. Anyway, this is Talking Balearics. Me and Rich are here to chat a little bit about the best islands of the world. So please like, comment and subscribe. What do you have for me this week, Richie, about our amazing islands?
News of a new hotel being built in Mallorca, which could be quite interesting, close to me here, actually, where I am. Also, something new that Easyjet are trialling that I wanted to sort of put out there, which I think is quite a good idea. So I will tell you all about that. Also, an economic forum that's happening in Palma. I was interested to see one of the guys that's actually making a speech has basically said exactly what we've been saying for the last 5 years, Mark. So I'm going to tell you about
why don't they just get me and you over there just to tell everyone how it goes, mate? You know,
there you go.
Not many secrets out there, Rich, is there? Let's face it. You know,
no, there's not.
It's not rocket science, is it? Let's face it. Anyway, sorry, Rich, go on. Mate.
No, it's fine. And then, for the last time this season,
yeah, mate, I know this was coming. I'm afraid
we have to mention Real Mallorca, unfortunately. But anyway, you know, it's half glass full, glass half full. He said.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we'll talk about it in detail, but. Very unlucky, Rich. Very unlucky. Right, three. Actually, I've got a fourth this week as well, Rich. So I'm going to nick one in. First of all, about tourist places. Did you know about this, Rich? You maybe did, but there's a tourist quota in the Balearics which I never knew about, and there's some news about the touristic quota this week, which is very interesting as well. We've got some good stats. You know, I'm a bit of a stato, as you know, and I'm a property guy. So stats and properties go hand in hand with me. So I've got some good stats about home ownership on the White Isle. And also, there's been a story this week, it goes hand in hand with that story. There's a little bit of a Brexit story, which probably we need just to kind of flag up for all the people out there, because I still get asked every week, how can I work in Spain if I've got a British passport? And, you know, I always say with great difficulty, but we'll go into more detail with that. And the last one that I'm just going to put in there is the latest on the passport control from Ibiza Airport, Rich. And let's just say, it's not great. Okay. It's not great news. Okay, let's just set the scene.
Funny that.
Yeah, funny that, isn't it? Let's just set the scene. So, Rich, before we go any further, just ask you: have you had a busy week in Mallorca? Because it's been really busy in Ibiza this week. I've got to tell you.
Yes, mate. Yes, it's very busy. Particularly, I was where was I? I was on a beachside restaurant watching the football on Sunday, actually, and I was.
I mean, that's you all over, isn't it? Beachside restaurant, but watching the football. I love that. I love that. That's Richie Pryor in a nutshell, that is, isn't it?
But I took in a bit of a walk before I made it to the beach bar, and yes, I noticed everywhere I went, everything was very, very busy, particularly the sort of the beachside restaurants and bars and cafes, and the beach itself very busy.
Yeah, no, it's bizarre. I mean, I had a busy weekend because I had a stag do on from a good mate of mine who plays for the Cardiff Scarlets. Is it the Scarlets from rugby? I mean, I'm not a rugby bugger. And I was out and about, and it was really, really busy everywhere, mate. So I just wondered if it was the same over there. Anyway.
Is he playing for the Scarlets? Does he know our mate Barry from last week?
He knows it. He said to me. He said to me. Did he? Funny that. Barry Duponent, apparently, has got a big player. He's got a big move.
Oh, yeah, there you go. He's
going to the Dragons, apparently. He's leaving the Scarlets. Going
well done, Barry.
Yeah. This is just because you got a good mention online about that.
Yeah, I did. Thank you for that. Very kind.
Celebrate. Listen, one good one-liner every year is always good.
There you go.
Return from our Richie. Anyway, mate, let's get back to the main podcast. Tell me, Richie, please.
Blasson Properties set to develop a luxury hotel on the site of the former casino in Calvià. You may, or the listeners out there may have heard of it. It was where the casino was before it moved to Portopee and Palma, but it was also where the show Come Fly With Me was as well, which obviously I was heavily involved in. And following the purchase of the adjacent beach club and land, according to investors, it will be an investment of about 175 million euros, covering both the purchase and the construction costs.
Wow.
So apparently it's going to be a 100-room hotel along with a wellness centre and a restoration of the funicular. I don't know if you know what the funicular is, Mark.
Well, I presume you mean the funicular, the railway, railway that runs on cords and goes up the side of a hill. That one, mate. Yeah? That's my eyes. Obviously, not very good. What do you call it? A funicular?
Funicular.
It's a funicular, mate. There's a really great one in Llandudno, by the way, just to let you know. They're really good.
Is it? Oh, yeah. Right, must make sure I go there.
But I'd rather be in Mallorca, I think, now, Rich, to be fair.
The sort of the slope is very steep there, and it's to get from the top to the bottom is not easy. I've known because we used to do a beach party there back in the day, Mark.
Oh, my life. Many years ago, yeah.
But apparently the group has got several international luxury operators who they're talking to, including what? Hang on a minute, where have they put those? They haven't given me the. They gave me the names earlier. Now they've taken the names away, which is not good. But anyway,
professionalism is always your number one thing, Rich, isn't it?
No, but there was lots of groups of hotels that they were interested in talking to, and now that list has now disappeared on the report I read earlier. But anyway, there you go. That is apparently they're going to put in a brand, of course, of hotel. Of course, yeah. Could be Six Senses. It could be something like that. It just
goes on from what we said previously, Rich, doesn't it? You know, the big boys want into the Balearics, don't they?
Yeah, I mean, listen, if you go back to, we've talked about the Four Seasons, we talked about the Belmont, we talked about St. Regis. Obviously, you know, those are two or three big brands. Jumeirah, of course, up in Soller. We've got some very big brands. The Mandarin Oriental going into Punta Negra just opened up, actually, that hotel. So it's fantastic. It's fantastic for Calvià as well, of course, because it's in Calvià. So, and it's a little bit out of resort, Mark. It's you know, I'd say about a 10-minute journey through. If you know where Pirates is, it's about a 10-minute journey up from Pirates. So,
I mean, this is a major investment. That's what I'm trying to say.
Oh, yeah, it is a major investment. Listen, I can guarantee you the rooms won't be cheap, whether or not they'll be 5,000 a night.
No, they won't. But I mean, and also
let's
base the figures over 40 years or whatever. But what I'm saying is, I mean, it just shows you. It goes on to what we said about the abandoned hotel in San Antonio San Antonio Bay just around the corner from me. They're looking to actually sell that for 55 million, and all of a sudden that doesn't look too bad, does it? If you're 175 million in Calvià and 55 million in San Antonio Bay, I think your product's probably going to be slightly better than here because it's in the middle of town. But you know, that's still a major investment, isn't it?
I think this property will probably try and open its doors, if not 10 months, maybe even 12 months. I think that's what's going to happen. Obviously, the other big hotel we have, Mar de Val, is pretty much open all year round now. And I think the Mandarin are going to try and do that as well. So obviously it opens up Calvià because we don't have a very big winter program down in Calvià right now. It's bigger than it has been, but it needs to get better. And that will produce, you know, more people to come, which is only a positive thing as well.
Oh, it's great. It's great news, Rich. But I mean, if you just said 10, 15 years ago that people will be investing 175 million in a hotel in Calvià, what would you have said to me?
Yeah, you're mad.
Well, you say that regularly anyway, mate. Along with other platitudes, of course.
Yes.
Let's just go on from that, Rich, because it's a good segue. Because I was reading a report this week about the tourist quota for the Balearics. I'm talking as a Balearics as a whole here, and it was saying that there's a lot of inactive tourist beds out there. Yeah. So, and there's a debate brewing about it. So, you know, what they're saying is Balearic Islands could potentially receive around about 1.3 million fewer tourists each year than they should be having, which is slightly concerning, Rich, because we're already at maximum point, aren't we? So the debate is that there's a long-standing accommodation quota system where hotels, apartments and holiday rentals operate under a limited number of authorised beds or plazas touristicas, which I think you guys control a little bit better than we do in Ibiza. So the concern is, particularly from the opposing political parties, is that these thousands of inactive places could be reactivated, traded or purchased. So theoretically, there could be 38,000 more places in the Balearics than there actually is. And that's legally wise, Rich. That's not just new places, that's that there already is. So obviously the Green Party, the environmentalists are up in arms saying, well, listen, we can't cope with what we've got already. it's going to put more pressure on the housing, the roads, the water, and the infrastructure, and they're looking to contain it. So it's a bit of a red flag, Rich, this is, and I've never heard this story before, to be honest. I knew that obviously there were certain hotels that haven't opened for years, but if you look at it, and there's 38,000 over the 4 islands, it's pretty drastic, isn't it? That could be reactivated. I'm not saying they will, Rich, but if you hold a hotel license and a Plaza Turistica, it's worth money. It's an asset to have in your hand. It's a bit like a taxi license. If you've got it, it's worth substantially more than if you haven't got it.
Yeah, in fact, to be honest with you, Mark, that does lead on nicely to my next subject, as you were saying.
Anyone would think we've done this before, Rich.
Everyone would think we scripted it, which we definitely haven't. So starting today, which is Tuesday, the day that we recorded this podcast, the 5th El Económico Forum will be held at Palma's Palacio de Congresos, which challenges the geoeconomics, or challenges of geoeconomics is the theme. And one of the main speakers is a guy called Gonzalo Bernardos, professor of economics at the University of Barcelona. Now, he talks about lots of different things, but he also says when talking about the Balearics as a general, he says the Balearics have a great asset, the specialization in tourism, and tourism will continue to be one of the major sectors of the 21st century. My impression is that some people complain just for the sake of complaining and criticize the dependence on tourism. But I always say the same thing. The important thing is not to diversify for the sake of diversification, but to specialize in what is successful. Bernardos doesn't feel that tourism will suffer because of international uncertainty. And he also says, much is said about the post-pandemic champagne effect having come to an end by the complementary sector of restaurants, etc., and by the hoteliers. I think it's clear, he says, that the extraordinary increase in occupancy won't be the same, but they will have this. They still have more customers and earn more than the previous year. Tourism will continue to grow. He also added at the end, reducing seasonality is the biggest change. There are islands and areas where there is practically no activity between November and April. The example to follow is Benidorm, which has tourism all year round. Right. There you go. Thank you, Bernardo.
Bernardo's he's talking sense. That by the way, the lefties won't like it like that, Rich, will they? God, they think tourism's the devil. It really is. That's a complete bullseye from our Bernardo, isn't it? Come on, we know this. Also, what's interesting is he said there, and there's something that's always mystified me: is diversifying for diversifying diversity. Let me get that right again.
Get it out, mate.
Yeah, no, listen, I can't listen. It's early for me.
It's that stag week.
Diversifying for diversifying sake, right? It doesn't make sense. Better to be a specialist as well. And also what he's saying is exactly what we've been saying for years. The days of mass tourism are kind of over.
I agree.
They're still around because we get volume, but we get volume peak season. The days of specializing and being expensive or reassuringly expensive, should I say, that are here to stay. Because they're here to stay until the market tells us differently, by the way. Because I think what we're doing as a Balearic, as a product in general for the Balearics, is we're just reacting to the market. It's what people want. So this new 5-star hotel in Calvià, they're not doing it on a whim, Rich, are they? They've looked around and said, right, who's making the load of money? Okay, they are. What are they doing? Let's copy them. It's the Balearic way, isn't it? Let's copy and paste. And at the end of the day, Bernardo, if he wants to come on to Talking Balearics, and we'll put him right on a few other things as well, he can do that, can't he?
Yeah, and then get paid a hell of a load of money to talk at the forum. Well, we'd have done it for what? A menu del dia, probably, Mark.
And half a lager shan in a pack of Chris later, mate.
Yes.
Spout a bit of honesty. It's always good, isn't it, Rich? So. Listen, I'm going to segue into that as well, Rich, shall I? Because
marvelous.
I know. Let's go.
Let's go.
We are, mate. So from touristic to residents, really now, and it goes in again to the pressure. The Balearics. If you look at it in general, the same subjects come out, but in different guises, don't they? All the time, the pressure, the environment, the hotel places. But another new report this week, which is again, I was very interested in being a working property, is that the figures came out for the home ownership in Ibiza and Formentera. Sorry, let's not forget Formentera. And basically, there's 13,419 homes across Ibiza and Formentera. So 13,419 homes that are foreign owned by foreign nationals. And that is, believe it or not, 20% of the island's homes. Okay. Now this will get the alarm bells ringing, won't it, for the locals, because they'll go, hold on a minute, we are losing our identity. But this again it's called capitalism. It's called free trade. It's the Eurozone. Anybody within the Eurozone can buy any house at any time if you've got the money. And as we know, the figures are going up, or the prices are going up, and the home ownership is going up for foreign nationals as well. So it's a red flag, because it just means that housing becomes less affordable, and the strong overseas demand is backed by purchasing power far beyond local salaries. We know that. So unfortunately, it just means the gap is just going to get bigger. And the big talking point here is, when 1 in 5 homes in Ibiza is owned by foreign nationals, where do you draw the line between healthy international investment and a housing market that no longer caters for residents? It's as simple as that. So, it throws up more questions than answers, Rich. It really does. And it doesn't look like it's going to stop anytime soon, because, as you know, I'm an estate agent, and I'm trying to think last time we actually sold a property to a Spanish person. We do the odd one now and again, but I would say 1 in 4, 1 in 5 is the Spanish, and the rest are usually to foreigners.
So a Spanish person that's bought one, but I imagine quite a lot of Spanish people have sold them.
Also, mainly Spanish have sold them, Rich. Yeah, I mean, exactly. You can see the traffic, and it's pretty much one way. But if you're holding you own a house and you want to liquidate your assets, you're going to sell it, and you don't care. Listen, as a seller, let's get it right. You don't care who buys your house as long as they pay the money that you want for it. Yeah, it's a purely capitalist market. So and we've gone through this conversation before. You can't ban EU nationals, because it fundamentally goes against EU law. God, I can't get my words out today. EU law. So, as I say, it's an interesting report, but it also throws up more questions than answers.
Interesting enough, because I think I'm right in saying that they were trying to bring this law in to stop international investment, weren't they? Stop foreigners coming in, but obviously it was totally against EU regulations and everything else, which got thrown out.
That was your favourite party, Rich. Mess permit.
Mess,
Mallorca.
Mess. Yeah.
Mess
by name. Mess by name. Mess by nature.
You better not be telling them about that 5-star hotel in Calvià, mate. Otherwise, the steam will be coming out of their ears as you're telling them as well. So no, we're really in this situation. It's really bizarre situation that Balearics is in, and we're all in it. By the way, Menorca prices are going through the roof now as well. You used to be able to get value for money in Menorca. Formentera has the most expensive property in the whole of Spain, but very rarely does property come around. Ibiza and Mallorca always appear in the top 5 most expensive places in Spain as well. So it's a real conundrum. It's great because we've got assets, haven't we? Great, we're okay, Jack, aren't we? Great. Listen. But if you're a young person trying to get on the ladder, it's pretty dire, Rich. It really is.
I don't know if you know that Jet2 offers a free Twilight check-in service that allows you to drop off your luggage the evening before your flight. It's available to passengers traveling with Jet2, obviously, before 12 or traveling before 12 midday. So basically what you can do is you can get rid of your luggage the night before, so you haven't got to worry about it the day after. I think it's quite a good thing, actually.
I didn't know, Richard. I think it's a great thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been going quite a long time, actually, which I think is a great service. Interestingly enough, I hear that Easyjet are offering a very similar service. They've started to trial it at London Luton, and it's called the what do they call it? The Twilight bag service. So very similar to what Jet2 offer. All you need is you go to the bag drop area with your passport and boarding pass. You drop off your bags between 6 o'clock and 9 o'clock. They take care of the rest, and your bag will be ready to collect when you land in your destination. They're currently trialing it at Luton. Before flights before 9 o'clock, leave before 9 o'clock in the morning, allowing you to then obviously just breeze through the airport rather than have to go to check in that morning. So you haven't got to rush around. Do you know what I mean? Get there a certain amount of time before. And it says if you're driving, which is interesting, please head to Terminal Car Park 1, where you can park for up to 1 hour for free, no less.
Okay, well, that just shows you how much competition's out there, Rich, doesn't it? And this is why competition is always a healthy thing, because it just drives down prices and drives up service.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. I mean, particularly if you're with a family, you've got kids and everything else. It's nothing worse than waiting in a queue to bag checking and everything else. It's the worst thing. So for families that, I listen, I've done it, and I'm sure other families have also. They've booked a hotel the night before, so they've gone down the night before, stayed in the hotel overnight, and then gone on their travels the next day. I think for those sort of people, it's great. And anybody that lives sort of quite close to an airport, it's an opportunity for them as well. So, yeah, I think that's something that EasyJet looks like they're going to roll out even further if this trial is successful.
That's great, mate. That's really good. And I think it's a good service. And as we're coming into peak season now as well, it's well worth mentioning it for our people who are coming over out there as well. Airport, Rich. Do you want the update on the passport control?
I can tell by your voice, mate. This is not going well.
Well, what did we say? We said it would be chaos on the first busy weekend of the year, didn't we? And let's say which weekend, which it is or was last weekend. The social media channels have been full of it. 3 hours of queuing when you arrive. One client saying it's the worst thing he's ever seen in his life. One said he's never seen anything like it. I mean, the press was full of it this week. It really was, Rich, because, we knew it was going to happen, Rich. And I mean, and again, should we call it the Bernardo syndrome? Bernardo's only telling us the things we've been talking about before, but we know what's going to happen. So should we have a little bet, Rich? We're now on, let's have a look. It's now the 26th, should I say, of May. So what do you reckon? 1st of June, will it change, or what do you reckon?
Well, I don't know if you saw, Mark, at Dover, they were having 4-hour delays at Dover, and basically the French basically just dropped all the guards and just let them through because it was causing an absolute nightmare. So,
well, I know how the Spanish system works. Well, I think I know how the Spanish system works, Rich. And I've got to say, if they can solve it quickly and they look for ways around it, it'd be great. But I reckon we're looking within 10 days, we're going to find a little announcement. And when we do, we're going to do. Let's say this. We're going to do a special one-off 10-minute podcast saying "I told you so." There you go. That's what we're going to do.
Yeah,
I know it's not rocket science. And just going on from that, Rich, again, another one, a Brexit story, which I just want to pick up on because it was in the paper this week, which I always found interesting, that they're really tightening up on Brexit. Post-Brexit rules of living in Ibiza, because I actually got asked it yesterday about digital nomad and the non-lucrative visa. And I just say to it, it's so difficult now to be able to live and work in Spain if you've got a British passport. If you've got an Irish passport, it's like winning the pools, isn't it? Or winning the lottery, should I say, these days, because you can work anywhere in Europe. But British passports now for working in Spain. And there was a case last week. There was a guy, he produced a contract saying that he'd lived in Ibiza for before Brexit. So tried to prove that he'd lived here before, but the court threw it out and said, listen, it wasn't enough just to have a contract. And listen, we know paperwork. He didn't have any utility bills. He had no other way of proving it. So let's face it, he could have just mocked that contract up anywhere from a mate of his. So it makes sense. But the court said a rental contract wasn't enough on its own. And it's just basically underlines an important reality for many Brits in Spain that, proving that you legally lived here, is very tough. So, it's navigating the Spanish bureaucracy and the housing paperwork and the resi rules can be challenging anyway, but you just need to tighten up as well. And if you haven't got your residency, it is very difficult. I'm not saying it's impossible, Rich, because nothing's impossible. There are ways, a golden visa, non-lucrative visa, digital nomad, there are ways, but they get you jumping through hoops. They really do.
Now, unfortunately, we've got to talk about Real Mallorca, Mark.
Listen, Laurent Bates told me, can you keep it brief, though? Because that's twice on the trot now that he's messaged me saying Richie goes on about football too much. So,
Well, don't forget, we're at the end of the season now, so you've got a few months. Well, actually, unless we start talking about the World Cup in the coming weeks, of course, Mark, which I'm sure we probably will. So by the time we finish the World Cup, the season will start again. So there you go.
That's great.
Unlucky. Listen, Real Mallorca got relegated last weekend. They beat Real Oviedo by 3-0. Unfortunately, all the teams that were around them that they were depending on results for got the result they needed. And a lot of people, actually, I got a lot of messages asking me, well, how come Mallorca have gone down if they've got the same points as Levante and they've got a better goal difference? Because it goes on how your results were against that team that you have the same points with, if that makes sense. So Levante, which is the particular example, was
called head-to-head, Rich, just to let you know.
Yeah, head-to-head. So basically, it was 2-0 to Levante away, and we drew 1-1 at home. So Levante,
that was the one, mate. The 1-1 at home. That was the one.
Actually, Mark, when I went back and I thought, hang on a minute, what did we do against Osasuna? Because we finished on the same points against Osasuna. Listen to this. We played Osasuna, obviously, twice. At home, we were 2-0 up at home, and they scored in the 81st and 92nd minute. Yeah. And we were 2-0 up away.
Yeah.
And they scored in the 88th and the 93rd minute.
Wow.
So we were 2-0 up in both games.
So those two matches alone have changed everything, haven't they?
Of course, that was 4 points straight away. Do you know what I mean? And 4 points less than that. 2 points less than they would have got as well. So yeah, that I think that was one of the big games that you look at over the season. You go, should have won both of those games. You know what I mean?
But Rich,
would have gone down.
You've always said that staying up's 40 points. I mean, you've gone down with 42. I mean, that's just unlucky, isn't it? It really is.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we look at the Premier League this year, and West Ham went down on 39. That's the highest that's been, I think someone said, in over 8 or 9 years in the Premier League. So, listen, the table doesn't lie. At the end of the day, you are there for a reason. There's lots of reasons that I could give you, but I think the worst one was that they probably hang on to the manager or the previous coach, Arasati, for too long. But when they got the change was good with Di Michelis. He definitely got the players playing again. And also the last sort of 3 games, listen, we lost 2 out of 3. So and that's
just needed a point. You needed a point, Rich. That was all. Just needed a point. But you didn't even look like getting a point out of those other 2 games, did you? As well, you were well built and beaten. So
no,
it's sad for Balearic football in general, though, Rich, isn't it? I mean, looking at the wider scope, it's pretty. And I saw SD Ibiza went down from the 2nd to the 3rd as well. So not a great week for Balearic football, mate. I'm afraid there will be better weeks, but quite sad. Also, Rich, I'm surprised you haven't mentioned the mighty Gooners as well, mate, because I thought you'd be celebrating.
Well, I mean, Mark, look, I thought I'd maybe wait until after the Champions League at the weekend because. I am going back to London at the weekend. By the way, if anybody has any tickets for the Emirates Stadium,
are you begging again, Rich?
Oh. Totally. Listen, I've begged all over the place and still had no luck.
It's tough, mate.
It really is. Even for this game, they sold the tickets for €15, so it was peanuts for the game. Do you know what I mean? They're selling online now for 125.
Gosh.
Do you know what I mean? It's mad. And you're not even watching a live game. You're watching it on a screen.
Immortality. It wakes up. The funny thing about Arsenal, and we won't go about football too much, is that title was such a stressful running. Everyone's kind of forgot about the Champions League final, haven't they? And it hasn't been mentioned. But I honestly think PSG will win. I think they're the best team in Europe. However, as we all know, in a one-off game, anything could happen. You ask all those underdog stories all over the years. So come on, Arsenal, mate. Listen, I'll be supporting Arsenal. It pains me to say, but I'll be supporting Arsenal on Saturday. You can expect a few text messages, mate.
Mark, listen and make sure you clip this properly, okay?
Yeah, go on.
1-0 to the Arsenal. I'm telling you.
Okay, should we do that again so I can clip it properly? Rich, how do you think it will go on Saturday in the Champions League final?
It'll be 1-0 to the Arsenal, mate. Right, I'm telling you now.
That is going to be clipped up.
Put your money on it. Put your money on it, people.
So. Also, a quick one. Thanks to everybody who messaged me about the Dear England show on BBC. Now it's on the iPlayer. Which
Dear England? I don't know. I've not heard about this.
It's the Gareth Southgate play. It was in the West End, and they've filmed it with Joseph Fiennes as Gareth Southgate, and it's very good by all accounts. But that I appear in the crowd, Rich, on episode 2. There's me singing the national anthem. So for once,
serious?
Yeah, no, yeah, it's a TV appearance I can be proud of for a change. So
do you get repeat fees?
I don't think they get any fees, Rich, really, to be honest. But, it's nice to see. But the funny thing is, Rich, they show it on the Euro final in 2020, which we all know was in 21. So it was from Wembley. But however, the footage was from Qatar 2022 quarterfinal. So, it's good, but it's definitely me because I know because I've had lots of messages.
Well, we know there's only one Martin Makepeace. Come on. And one thing you should know, actually, you might not know this, but Joseph Fiennes, a former resident of Mallorca.
I didn't know that, Rich. Oh, that's another great segue. It's been a show of segues. I think
I
think we're going to leave it there, Rich. Fantastic, mate. Listen, always a pleasure.
And you, Mark.
Enjoyed it this week as always. And listen, I'll see you this time next week.
I hope that your friend of yours enjoys his dog walk. Listen to this.
Yeah, Lazar Bates. Yeah, he sends us a voice note every week, doesn't he? So
it's good. It's nice to hear the feedback.
He sent me 3 voice notes about this week. So yeah, looking forward to next week as well. Rich, always a pleasure, buddy.
Take care, mate.
Speak to you soon, mate.
Bye bye.
Make me dance.